What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a great wide receiver football IQ quiz to test your knowledge of the position. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and would like a daily workout schedule to follow, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. What it is, it's a daily schedule. Like Monday you're doing this, Tuesday you're doing that for wide receivers on the field and in the gym. We give you the exact exercises, drills to do with sets and reps, and video examples of each drill so you're not confused on how to perform the exercise. So check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested in that. Let's get started with this video. So if you're not familiar with our quiz style videos, what I do is I show a pre-snap look. I ask you a series of questions about that pre-snap look, how you would run certain routes, what the coverage is, etc. I give you guys a chance to pause the video, think about your answer, what you would do in this situation, and then we break it down, okay? So you guys, on this first clip, first question is going to be, how would you guys run a 10 to 12 yard dig versus a DB who is in zone coverage like so? So zone coverage, how would you guys run a 10 to 12 yard dig route versus this type of coverage? So you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So some of you might be wondering, well, how do you know that it's zone coverage? It's very easy to determine if it's zone coverage. It's three things that we want to look at. Obviously, distance from him plays a factor. Sometimes, though, DBs can walk down and show like they're in press and then bail into zone. So that's not the be-all, end-all of what you want to look at. But again, distance plays a factor. Number two, his stance. Is he squared up facing me, or is he tilted a little bit to the inside? Tilted a little bit to the inside, obviously. And then third thing would be his eyes. So is he looking at me, or is he looking inside? Looking inside. So it looks a lot like zone. So anytime that we have a DB who's in zone, usually there's an area that's called the blind spot. So the blind spot is when this DB does exactly what he does here and starts to turn. This is the blind spot. And any DB in zone coverage, at least on the outside, is going to have a blind spot because they are trying to protect the outside. They want to try, if you just try to run to that blind spot, they're going to widen with you and try to force you to the sideline because they have some kind of help inside. What they're hoping is that we just take off and go run right into safety help. So we can use that to our advantage as a wide receiver, especially when I have inside breaking routes like a dig, post, maybe even a curl. Sometimes maybe even just a stop route where you put the brakes on. So what you said, if you said to attack the DB's blind spot on this or attack his leverage to the outside, that would be correct. So let's play this full speed. Let's watch what Atwell does here. So he comes off the ball and again, attacks the blind spot of the DB, gets him to bail, make him think that it's a deep route, and then we're able to get separation on this dig. Guys, when we have an inside breaking route against zone, we can't just take off and go run. Anytime that it is zone, let me tell you this right now, a DB will never play off zone coverage without some kind of safety help to the inside. So if our game plan is just to run, you're running right into exactly where he wants us to go, which is a free safety, a strong safety, whatever it is. So we have to step on his toes. We have to close the distance, and we have to threaten that blind spot. If that's what you guys said, you would be 100% correct on this example. So attacking the blind spot, best way to get that DB to widen, making him think that you're trying to run fade, get around him, which is what he does not want to give up, and that could give us more space to the inside. So great route there by Atwell and creating a bigger throwing window for the quarterback. Okay, so now, next example here. How would you guys run? And I know it's kind of tough to see, but this DB is outside shaded, so he's shaded to the outside, okay? So I want you to, it looks a little bit like head up. He's actually shaded to the outside, and you'll see it when I play the clip full speed, what I'm talking about. It'll be easier to see. Pre-snap, it's a little tough. Now, how would you guys run a post corner versus this type of coverage? So how would you guys run a post corner versus this type of coverage? So you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answers. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So just because it's a post corner does not mean, aka a double move, does not mean that anything changes with the way that you would run the route. So for this example, like he's outside shade, and let's say you have to run a post route. As we know from the last example, anytime the DB is lined up outside shade, whether it's zone, whether it's press man, whether it's off man, he has some kind of help to the inside. He doesn't want to give up the outside route and wants to force you to the inside. So how you would do it is if you had to run a post, which is an inside breaking route, you would attack him. You would try to close this space right here here and get to his toes, make him think that you're doing an outside move to get him to widen, and then take the inside release and run your route. So it would be no different when we have to run a double move. You have to run a double move exactly like how you would run the regular single move. So if it's a post corner, run this like how you'd run a post. We have to do it. If we change it up because of the double move, it's more obvious to the DB. Ideally, on a post corner, I would love an outside release, because if I release to the outside and this DB's on my hip and I break to the post and I get him to cut to the post and I go back to the corner, I got all this room to operate. And if I sell it properly, I can get some space. Inside's a little tough, but if we attack him and we take this inside release and we get skinny and get into him, when I break to that post, there's a good chance that he might try to undercut it. And then I could still have some space to the outside. So if that's what you guys said, that would be correct. Let's play at full speed. Now, again, he does a good job. He breaks to the post, just this DB does not undercut it the way we would like. And that ball's obviously underthrown, but that's a great job by Bateman making a play on this thing. So he goes here, and you see how he's attacking him, getting into him. His hope is that when he breaks to this post right here, this DB undercuts. Or he just commits hard to the post and he's right on our hip. But ultimately, there's some space between us and this DB. And when he broke back to the corner, he kind of rounded the cut a little bit, drifted upfield maybe a tad. So this DB still had a chance. But again, conceptually, this was 100% correct on the route. So let's play this thing full speed one more time. So if you guys said take the inside release, just run it like a regular post, you would be 100% correct on this. So now, next example here that we are going to be going over, it's going to be more so like I'm going to show the clip. I'm going to show the clip first and then ask you a series of questions on it, okay? So this is going to be about coverage. So I'm going to show this clip first and then we'll talk about it. So this receiver comes off the ball. It's a little jam from the wide receiver, or from the DB. So wide receiver comes the ball, DB jams a little bit, safety comes over the top and has a chance to get a pick, ultimately doesn't. So my question on this: what coverage is this? When would you see this as an outside wide receiver? What coverage is the defense in right now? Why did the quarterback, think about why the quarterback threw the ball like this. Quarterback was obviously late. Think about the play concept. We have an outside receiver running like a fade route. We have the slot receiver running a 5-yard out. What type of coverage is this? So you guys can go ahead and pause the video and think about your answers. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So the answer to this question would be cover two. So what is cover two, and why is it important that a receiver knows cover two? It's for these types of situations exactly. The quarterback threw this thing late as hell. That's why the ball almost got picked. If he throws this on time and he anticipates the coverage a little bit better, this is an easy play for us. But this wide receiver is doing a mandatory outside release fade, and what the corner is doing is he gets hands, he jams, right? But then he sits to the flats. So why would the corner do that? Because that is his zone. In cover two, what the defense is doing, I'm going to draw it right here. Let's say this is a DB. Let's say this is the safety. The DB is in charge of the flats. The safety is in charge of the deep half. So the safety on the opposite side of the field has got the deep half. Corner over here has the flats as well. So usually the weak points of this coverage is the middle of the field if they don't drop a linebacker, which is something called Tampa 2. You don't need to worry about that too much. And the weaknesses are this something area called the hole shot, which is between the corner and between the safety. Now, if we have to run a fade route and the play concept is 5-yard out fade, this is why it's important to know what the coverage is. And it's very typical that a DB will jam when it's cover two with that outside receiver. He's trying to reroute and trying to disrupt timing. So reason why we need to know this is we need to expect when the ball's going to be there. I don't want to have my head down trying to run as fast as I can when I got a safety screaming over the top, and the quarterback is taught, do not throw this fade ball, this whole shot fade, with some touch. He's taught to throw this thing on a freaking line and stop the receiver with the ball almost like a back shoulder throw. So if I'm a receiver and I'm not expecting that because I don't know the coverages and I don't know what I'm doing, it's likely that I won't be able to make a play on this. So we have to understand the coverage as a receiver too, fellas. You don't got to understand everything about the coverage. That ball honestly should have been thrown right there, and the ball should have been thrown on his back shoulder. But this quarterback threw this thing very late, and that's why it's getting picked off. But guys, or it could have been picked off. And will get picked off, though, in any situation. Sometimes it's even on the receiver. They cover themselves because they don't understand the coverage. Guys, it's more, like I said, you don't have to understand every intricacy of the coverage. But you got to understand generally what a DB and what a safety is trying to do, so you know where the weak points are in the coverage, so you know when to expect the ball. Okay, so let's play this thing full speed one more time. Again, that's the coverage, cover two, if that's what you guys said. And again, it's important to know so you know when to expect the ball. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like an 8-week wide receiver on-field and gym workout schedule, everything wide receivers should be doing on the field, in the gym, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all broken down for you. Check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.